Is it physically designed to optimize materials and energy? Is it effectively recovered and utilized in biological and/or industrial closed-loop cycles? The problem is, even though we have these definitions by the Sustainable Packaging Coalition, there is no one universal solution. For different people, it means different things. For example, sustainable could mean less damage to the environment, or it could imply producing packaging from renewable resources. Sustainable could entail designing products from so-called environmentally friendly materials, or sustainable could connote the use of less material and recycled materials or degradable materials. To complicate matters even further, there are many players and influencers, some of which carry more weight than others. I've listed a few of these here. There's still more, but these are the primary players. The media, the manufacturer, the retailer, the package designer, the regulatory agencies, the consumer, and ultimately the waste stream. I put a few thoughts down here about some of the perceptions that the different stakeholders in designing sustainable, what in general they think, so that you can see that there are a lot of different perspectives. The media typically equates it with global warming and overfilling landfills. The manufacturer thinks about it as looking at as how it can reduce its carbon footprint. The retailer thinks about it in a dollars and cents issues, which is basically to sell more products at a lesser cost, but at the same time save the planet too, or be more environmentally friendly. The package designer thinks great package design can have an environmental impact, so they're kind of the leading edge in coming up with new and innovative technologies and ideas. The monitoring organizations, they all have the best interests of their constituency at heart. So what they think may not be the ultimate outcome for the designer or for the consumer. The consumer typically wants less packaging, or packaging that can be disposed of in an environmentally friendly way. And the waste stream component, they want it gone entirely. You see all these statistics about packaging is 30 to 50% of the waste stream and so on. So if they can reduce even incrementally, that will make a big difference. We have a lot of media play going on right now, and a lot of the headlines are what's driving the frenzy and the interest in more environmentally friendly packaging. Beside the typical global warming and the great garbage dump, you see stories like Easter eggs, which we just had, particularly in the UK, not as much here in the United States, where they're scrutinizing the Easter egg packaging, trying to see how there can be less packaging, what to do with the packaging after it's used, and so on. Then you have other constituencies like the beverage industry, where they're looking at lightweighting bottles in terms of being more environmentally friendly. Then you have the eco-motivated people who are talking about the true cost of bottled drinking water, and we all know bottled water is a huge business entity and uses lots of packaging, and I'll be covering this a little bit later. The sustainability scorecards of everyone show that we really haven't made very much progress. Like I stated earlier, other areas of the world, particularly in the European Union and Australia, are very much more advanced than we are here in the United States about the environmental design of product packaging. And then we get mixed grades on where we're going green. Solving the problem is not simple, though, and that's what I'm going to cover here during this presentation, of a lot of the issues that you need to think about. The first lesson that you need to learn is the fact that there is no one right answer. If we cannot agree on a common definition, then we can't necessarily all agree on the solution. So there's different perceptions from different groups about what the green movement is actually about. And therefore, you don't have one universal solution or one path forward as how you can solve or resolve package design. The retail drivers such as Walmart have its packaging scorecard, and other large constituent retailers such as Target or Tesco or some of these others, Carrefours, all have their own individual plans and mandates and directions that they're taking within their organization. The problem is that they're specific to their own entities and are not uniformly acceptable across all the platforms. So that's what the problem is. How to create smart packaging with environmental solutions. And the answers are complicated, and the consumer may not know that there is more than one solution, or they may not be willing to accept the solution. In many cases, a lot of times the consumer perception is that they don't really even care what the solution is anyway. Bottom line is there's lots of ways to solve the problem. We're going to talk a little bit about that later. I picked this one slide, I picked this area here to talk about because I have a lot of different illustrations of eco-friendly packaging for milk. I think it's really interesting because all these different groups have come up with their own answer for a specific purpose, but they're all different solutions and they're all being used by different people. I started off with the Walmart square milk jug. The reason why this is environmentally friendly is because they're looking at it from the big picture of their entire distribution channel. The cost savings of the milk jugs is what they're looking at. Of the benefits is they can actually get more milk because the milk jug is square, not round, on each truck. Therefore, they're saving their shipping cost and are reducing it by half. Therefore, they're reducing the number of trucks on the road yearly by almost 11,000. Now, this is just for milk, just by redesigning the rounded milk container to a square jug. And the stores that used to require 5 shipments per week now are only getting 2. Therefore, they have lower fuel consumption, and they lower their carbon footprint and their transportation miles. So that's their simple environmental solution by redesigning a jug of milk by taking it from a round traditional design into a square design. I don't have an example here, but there is also a lot of design work being done with eliminating the handle from the plastic milk jug so that there's no handle at all, or a slightly redesigned handle, and that would eliminate a tremendous amount of plastic being used just for the milk industry. The negatives, though, again, like we said, we have different perspectives of the milk jug, is consumers find it very difficult to pour out of, and they also for children. And a lot of times it generates a wide stream of milk, more so than a typical round jug. Therefore, there's milk spilled, and you have the negative consumer reaction from a redesign environmentally friendly, but the consumers don't like it. This next one, the milk bags. This is one of the ideas that have come up with, is typically being used in Canada and Europe. It's not very well widely accepted here in the United States. There's great speculation as to whether anybody's going to actually try to introduce it here. But it does use less plastic than traditional jugs. The milk bags are usually made of high-density polyethylene and are recycled.